Hello, everybody. It's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing Gungrave Gore. It was developed by Iggy Mob and published by Prime Matter and originally released on November 22nd of 2022 on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, where you go around playing as Brandon D. Heat. Let's go, Brandon, as the gunslinger of resurrection on his quest of revenge against the street drug called Seed. It ends up turning people into violent mutants. How original, right? And you end up going against a cartel called the Raven Clan, which four main bosses as you go through this epic quest. Now, as for the overall gameplay itself, it plays a lot like Devil May Cry meets Bayonetta. I mean, really, that's what it is from start to finish, but with an anime flair to it. You have something known as your beat count, which is what you use every time you hit a enemy with a bullet or a move, and you chain attacks together to try to get a higher level score at the end of each level. You also have something known as an art score. Now, this is for whenever you do super moves like executions, demolition shots, and super moves. And these are all compiled together at the end of each level that you beat to rank you up to see what score you get. And whatever score you get gets you more points, which can actually be used to upgrade your character even more. Like I said, it plays out exactly like if you took Devil May Cry and Bayonetta and put them in a blender with some anime characters. It really is exactly how this game plays. Now, as for the overall size of it, it can be a rather hefty experience. You go through 6 different chapters in the game with a total of give or take about 31 levels. Now, why I say give or take is while there's only 31 levels, a lot of levels have multi-parts to them, which can actually take a significant amount of time to get through, and that's also not including the boss battles, which for the most part, I kind of enjoyed the boss battles in this. Now, overall game length, this is really not a super long game, but it's not a short one. It'll take you give or take about 12 hours to get from start to finish through this, and that's not including if you're going through for every single nook and cranny searching, which it doesn't really seem to give you anything special if you search. It kind of just tells you where to go from point A to point B as you're going through these levels, blowing up, shooting enemies as the arrow tells you where to go next. That's all I really noticed with it. Is you go into an area, people pop up, they attack you, you defeat them by shooting them, doing super moves, defending yourself with like shields, reflecting bullets and missiles back to them, and you defeat them, and it's rinse and repeat. That's basically what you do. You go to an area, kill all the enemies, wait for the little arrow to flash to let you know where to go to next, keep going through until you get to the end and fight the boss, and just keep doing that until you end up defeating all 4 of the main bosses and beating the game. Now, this game does have a skill tree, so don't worry about it. If you want to upgrade your character, you can as you go through and unlock different points to unlock different moves. It's 3 different sets in the skill list. You have your stats, your demolition shots, and your skill list. Now, each one gets different things. Your skill list unlocks different new moves for you to do as your character. Stats naturally unlocks like a higher health bar, higher super move bar, stuff like that. And demolition shots unlocks all your super special moves and your execution moves. Now, I have to say, after playing this, I did have a blast with it. It was a very, very fun game, but it seems rather shallow. It doesn't really seem to have that much in terms of variety. You just go to an area, keep shooting and killing, bouncing around like an idiot, trying to string together combos by shooting and doing super moves to try to get a high score so you can get that A or S ranking at the end as you go through. And once you beat enough levels, you go into a boss area, you beat the boss, and you move on. And it does have a lot of cutscenes to it, a lot of CGI cutscenes that are are not done with in-game. If it's done with the in-game engine, I'm surprised, but I see a lot of digital artifacts around the screen when I'm watching it, which makes me think that they're just upscaled CGI scenes. I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, let me know in the comments, and I'll gladly point out if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. I think it's like CGI scenes that are put into this game, and like I said, a lot of artifacting in it. Now, as for the overall design of the game worlds, while some of them look pretty nice, especially when you get to the more forest-oriented areas, most of the city zones look kind of drab and boring and bland in terms of their colors and designs. You're going down hallways, corridors, finding semi-trucks that are floating off the ground. I mean, seriously, the wheels aren't even touching the ground. Different corridors and beating these enemies to get through the areas, to find the boss, to beat them and move on. And well, that's not bad, but I kind of gotten spoiled with a lot of games, and this one visually doesn't look that impressive. Now, keep in mind, I am playing this on a PS5 version, which does give you a couple options. They give you a choice between performance mode and resolution mode, most like all PS5 games do. The performance mode keeps it locked at 60 frames a second, where resolution mode bumps it up to 4K. I don't think the textures in this are actually warranting a 4K up bump, as I call it. So I would recommend, if you do play this on PS5, just stick with the 60 frames a second. It does run a lot smoother. Now, my overall feeling of this game is, while I did enjoy it and I did find it fun, it didn't quite have the heart and soul as the games that it's copying from. It did have a rather deep move set and different moves that were very graphic and over the top and fun to execute, but in the end, it still kind of reminded me of a odd lot version of Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not bad at all. It structurally is sound. It plays very well. It's very visually appealing, even though some of the city areas don't look that good. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with the game. It's just, once again, it's kind of middle of the ground. It's not mediocre, but it's not great. It's just right in the middle. And I would have to say it seems to suffer from a severe lack of variety. The enemy variety, the level designs, other than some of them that stand out as being really unique, most of it is just your run-of-the-mill stuff that isn't really that appealing to play through. And honestly, I also noticed, even playing it on different difficulty modes, it doesn't seem to be balanced that well. I had several issues where there were some severe difficulty spikes, and then afterwards there were none at all. It's like certain areas you just go through no problem, just eradicating all the enemies, and in other areas you go through, you pretty much get your butt kicked. And it just made me wonder, it's like, okay, was this game really even tested when it came out? I know it had a lot of delays, but anymore, what game doesn't have delays? I would have to say, in between that and the poor level designs, I thought the level designs were rather generic and boring. I mean, you're going through all these areas that just like warehouses, cityscapes, and it's not till you get out in certain areas like the countryside and the forest areas that are really neat and stand out, but everything else just comes off as just run-of-the-mill and generic. And honestly, even though there was a lot of different moves that you can do, a lot of different upgrades you can have, and I did like the boss battles, I would have to say, in the end, I think Gungrave Gore is just kind of a middle-of-the-ground game. It's not great, but it's not bad, and it shows in its overall design. I mean, honestly, if you bought this game, it is $49.99 on every single system, which is kind of odd. This is one of those games that if you happen to have a current gen system like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or S, I would say go ahead. If you want to get that version for your PS5 or Xbox Series X, because it's the same price. You can pay $10 cheaper to have it on your current gen, or pay $49.99 for last gen, which is kind of odd. You'd think it'd be a little bit cheaper, but it doesn't seem to be. I don't know if that's a glitch in the system or in the matrix, but honestly, it's kind of an odd game. In the end, can I recommend that you can play Gungrave Gore? If you're a fan of Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, I certainly can. It is a fun game. It plays quite well. The only thing I would have to say is you have to get past the fact that, honestly, the level designs are just kind of generic and bland. Honestly, it does have difficulty spikes, and it doesn't really have much terms of variety. Though I did like the boss battles, and the story was quite intriguing as I went through this. And in the end, paying $50 for a 12-hour long game with a good premise and good, decent controls, it's definitely not bad. Honestly, if you pick it up at a discount, that's even better. But I can say Gungrave Gore, for what it is, isn't that bad. I don't really know if it's worth $50. I would say wait until there's a discount and pick it up on sale. It's definitely worth playing. It's not a bad game at all, but that's only my own personal opinion. Please leave in comments below if you have played Gungrave Gore. What do you think of this title? Do you agree or disagree with my review on this? Was there anything I missed in this title that I should have talked about? Please leave in the comments below and I will answer each and every single one of your questions. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. And remember, here at Devil Dog Gaming, we always end our videos by saying, have fun. Play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.